evening, viewers, and thank you for joining the Wednesday edition of the Regional News. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has given instructions to Marlene Malou Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, to proceed with speed towards transforming Jamaica into a republic. Holness said that his administration will be taking the necessary steps needed to transfer Jamaica from a constitutional monarchy to a republic, and that his administration will not be derailed. The Mark Golden-led People National Party parliamentary opposition has been accused by the government of holding out on naming 2 members of the committee to deal with constitutional reform, the engine that will advise the government on the timeline and steps to take to unshackle Jamaica from the British monarch and becoming a republic. Golden, who was responding to Malou Fort's statement in Parliament last week, noted that he wrote her last June seeking clarity on the work of the Constitutional Reform Committee, among other things, but had not received a response until January 5th this year. The opposition leader also said that he had communicated with Malou Fort, who will chair the committee, that the matter of the Caribbean Court of Justice becoming Jamaica's final appellate court is an important part of the transition to be considered by the Constitutional Reform Committee. We now look at news from Brazil. Brazilian President Luiz Lula da Silva has removed 40 troops guarding the presidential residence after expressing distrust in the military for failing to act against demonstrators that ransacked government buildings on January 8th. His decision was published on Tuesday in the government official gazette. Most of the troops guarding the Alvorada Palace, as the presidential residence is called, are from the army, but some are also members of the Navy, Air Force, and militarized police force. Last week, Lula told reporters that security force members were complicit in letting a mob of supporters of far-right former President Jair Bolsonaro storm the main buildings that form the seat in power in Brasilia. Investigations into the rampage have begun to show apparently intentional lapses in security that allow it to occur. Lula has also stepped up criticism of the army for not doing anything to discourage a 2-month-old encampment of Bolsonaro supporters outside its headquarters. And finally, we close with news from Colombia. A diplomatic spat between Guatemala and Colombia intensified on Tuesday as Guatemala's government accused Colombia's defense chief of crimes related to the high-stakes graft probe he once led as a special prosecutor in Guatemala. Over the past year, Guatemalan President Alejandro Giammattei has faced growing criticism, claiming he has slammed the brakes on anti-corruption efforts, as well as forcing some judges and prosecutors to flee the country. On Tuesday, the minister at the center of the storm, Colombian Defense Chief Ivan Valenzuela, took to Twitter to thank those who have rallied to his side, including President Gustavo Petro, who also touted the need to fight graft. A Guatemalan prosecutor stated that Valenzuela is being investigated for illegal abusive acts, stemming from its investigation into an alleged bribery scheme involving Brazilian construction firm Odebrecht. The spat led both nations to summon their ambassadors for consultations. Thank you for watching. I'm TIANA.